It's all within. You know, whatever reality that you desire for your life, it's all inside. You just have to put that energy out there. Not letting like any self-doubt, any fear stop you. I'm not saying that's not gonna pop up. That pops up for everybody. That's just a real thing. But understanding, I'm gonna transcend this. I'm gonna alchemize it and use it to fuel my power to take the next step forward. Hey, I'm Zipporah Sowell, founder of Rooted Vybz Botanica, and you're watching BGV's Where Are You Now?
Zipporah, welcome. You always the one I would never forget. You as a part of the BGV Next Gen cohort, the first one, 2021.
Yes.
Always been like, it's about the vibes, you know.
Yes.
And then everybody adapted that
Yes.
throughout the whole time that they were in the cohort. So the whole time we were in Cleveland, it's like, it's about the vibes.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have beautiful energy.
Thank you.
And I'm so curious. And so your company, it was Rooted Vybz, but now it's
Rooted Vybz Botanica.
Rooted Vybz Botanica.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So are you going to open up a physical location?
Honestly, I've been thinking about it. I think that would be like really good for me because I could see myself just being in the store, like talking to people about my herbs, the crystals. And I love interacting with people, you know, face to face. Even like when I do my markets, you know, in Chicago, it's a different type of energy, you know, interacting with my customers face to face. So that's something I could see in the near future.
Okay, so we're going to get into all the things. So you're doing markets in Chicago. So, okay, wait. You went to Tuskegee.
Yes.
So in Alabama.
Yes.
You're from Charlotte.
Yes.
Went to Tuskegee.
Yes.
And now you're in Indiana?
Illinois.
Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But you doing, okay, well, that's not too far, because in Chicago, okay, that's not too bad. Okay, because I was like, what's the Chicago connection? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your journey. Prior to going to school, did you feel like did you live a life where you're like, I'm going to one day be a herbalist? Or like what?
So how that like came about, it was in high school, right? Like, so I was actually set to graduate early, but I was like, no, I want to walk with everybody else. And so my counselor was like, well, you need to put some credits into your schedule. And so I came across a class called horticulture, and I was like, oh, that sounds fun. You know, so I got into that, and throughout that class, that's where I learned like all about plants for the first time. And when I tell you I was so fascinated, like it was like love at first sight, you know, with your passion. And so through that time, as I was learning about plants and just what they can do and just their presence here on earth, I started to get into the medicinal, you know, properties of plants. And that's how I got onto my herbalist track. So I've been doing it since, you know, I was young, you know, I was like 15, you know, when I decided that I wanted to be a herbalist and that I wanted to study these green creatures that are around us all the time. And I've literally taken off from there, so.
But did you grow up was your household very woo-woo, like spiritual? Like, did your mom have like crystals and sage and all the things, or it was nothing like that?
No. So I'm like the black sheep in the family. Like, I'm the one that's different. You know, I didn't grow up with anybody that was really into that. Like, no, I was just different. You know, like I just had a unique path. So no, I didn't grow up with any of that. Like, it came to me.
But so being an herbalist and developing your teas and using crystals, how does your family respond to that? How does your mom or dad or you know, whoever's in your life, how do they respond to it?
Yeah, so I would definitely say at the beginning, everybody's like, you want to be a what? What is that? No, you need to be a neuroscientist. You need to be a doctor. Like, you know, something like that, because you're just so smart. And I think, I don't even think it was a matter of they didn't want me to do it. I just think it was something new. You know, and with people, something new is unfamiliar. So you're like, what is that? But I think now that they've seen, oh, she's serious. Like, she's been on the go. My family has a deep respect for what I do. You know, they'll hit me and be like, Zipporah, what herb we using for this? What, you know, what's this? So I just think that, like I said, my path is so unique. And first thing is like, what? Like, what is that? Like, some people don't even know what a herbalist is. Like, you gotta
Right.
explain it and everything like that. So, but like I said, I think my family has come to just really love what I do, and they love that, you know, I'm walking authentically, you know, in my journey with this. So, yeah.
Why did you decide to go to Tuskegee?
Why did I Tuskegee? It was so many different reasons, but for one, Tuskegee is known for agriculture. You know, even if you look at the history of George Washington Carver, I mean, that whole thing, that's a whole nother story, but the agricultural history is so rich in Tuskegee. And also, as soon as I stepped foot on that campus, I felt like I belonged there. Like, and that is such a feeling that you have to hold, you know, dear to your heart, because it's easy not to feel like you belong somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Right. But when I was at Tuskegee, like, the embrace, we want you too. Like, not only do you want to be here, but we want you too. You know, it was that type of feeling, you know, and I love that it was a smaller student body. So I feel like it was easier for me as someone who deals with social anxiety from time to time. It was easier for me to kind of, you know, get comfortable in that space. But Tuskegee, it's the best decision ever made.
I love that. And so, you know, in news, there was a shooting there during one of the homecomings. Like, how does that feel to you? You're like, this is my school, this is my home for some time.
Right.
And to see it be treated this way.
It heavy, heartbreaking. You know, especially because since this homecoming that just passed, that was my first one back as an alum. You know, so I'm there to, like you said, come back home, you know, see my family. And the fact that it had to end that way. You know, everybody was in the vibes. You know, we talking about the vibes. Like, everybody's in the vibes. Like, you know, 100th homecoming. And, it was just disheartening that it had to happen that way. And truly, my love goes out to all my Tuskegee family and the families affected, you know, by this tragedy. So, yeah.
What's your degree in?
Plant and soil science.
Plant and soil science.
Yes,
okay.
That was my concentration. Plant and soil science.
Did you get more, like, certifications, degree, like, things after? Have you gone to do more, like, go deeper into plants?
I haven't done anything like deeper into the plant and soil aspect, but while I was getting my degree at Tuskegee, I also got my certification as a herbalist. So before then, I was essentially self-taught. You know, I was reading books, you know, I was doing classes. But while I was at Tuskegee, I actually got my herbalist certification in a different program. So I was doing two things at once, you know. So, yeah. And I plan to do more in the future because like I said, the information about plants and what they can do and their properties, it truly fascinates me. Like, I get lost in it, you know. So, yeah.
What do you think about, with all that you know, you've studied, what are your thoughts on, like, the development of plant medicine as cures? Like, psilocybin or ayahuasca or I can name a few, camo, like,
right.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Right. I don't know what everybody knows.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? But what are your thoughts on the development of the plant medicine, like, as an industry? Like, is it something that we should industrialize, or should it stay sort of on the fringe a little bit so it can stay more pure?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think I'm more of the, like, keep it on the outskirts, just because we know what happens when things take big scale like that, you know, like you said, that purity. And also, we have to understand plants are sacred, you know, so you don't want to abuse their power because that's not good for the earth or for us. And so that's why I'm more of the end of just keep it where it's at, you know, but it's definitely needed. And it is my hope that people can have more access to these things because it'll change your life, truly, you know, connecting with the earth. Because I feel like we've been disconnected from the earth. And so we've been disconnected from our bodies. And so we need to get back to that.
Do you think that, like, as you learn more about plant and soil, you also became more connected spiritually or intuitively?
Yes, definitely. It has kind of fostered my spiritual, you know, journey. Because also while I was at Tuskegee, that's where I became, I guess, more serious about my spiritual journey towards the latter part of my time at Tuskegee. And yes, like, you know, learning how to communicate with the plants and understanding that when I go out into the world and I look at the trees, I look at the water, I look at the sky, I'm looking at myself. The world is a reflection of me, you know? And so understanding that the universe is within you, you start to walk differently, you talk differently, you know, you vibrate on a totally different frequency. And it starts with changing that frequency within yourself, and that starts to radiate to other people.
Yeah.
And then other people, it starts to become contagious. And then, you know, it spreads.
Okay. So I'm into all the things.
Yes.
All the readings, all the, you know, listen, I don't know, like I said, I don't know who's watching. But I'm curious about, like, does it feel like a whole 360 from like a life you were living before as you become more aware?
Yes. That concept of quantum leaping and quantum shifting, yes, I've felt that. Like, I'm not even, it's weird because it's almost like I remember the woman that I was, but I also don't remember the woman that I was. Like, it's kind of weird. It's like I know I was someone different like a few years ago, but then the woman I am today, I'm like, but this is who I always been.
Right.
It's just been inside. And I'm just now tapping into it. You know, so I know you were asking, like, was I into manifestation and everything like that? Yes. We're always manifesting whether you realize it or not. You know, it just depends on what route you want to go. I'm heavy into affirmations, speaking over my life, you know, speaking those prayers of just goodwill, good intentions over my life, because I see it manifest. Because it starts all in here. Your thoughts are just formless energies, right? But then it starts to form into your words. Words start to create actions and habits, you know? And so I understood, if I want to change my life, I need to change my beliefs. I need to change how I'm looking at things. Yeah. I need to reframe my perception. You know, I need to talk to myself better, because the person that you talk to the most every day is actually yourself. Right. You know, you're always in here. So it's like, okay, if I know that I'm talking to Zipporah all the time, what does she need to hear? What needs to be said? You know, so I had to change all of that. And when I tell you, like I said, that concept of quantum leaping realities, definitely have felt that.
Okay, so I'm curious. And did you do any study around quantum? So I had somebody recently who was like, they had been studying quantum physics just randomly. Just started reading about it. And I also recently interviewed Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, okay.
OMG. Mind blown. Okay, you know, like I was asking him all these different things. It's like, that's not scientific. I'm like, but that's how it feels. But he was also saying, I was asking him about, like, well, how do you explain magic? I asked him this off camera, and he was like, actually, the magic, the things that we say are magic or think are magic, they're scientific. And I'm like, so like, to what you're saying about connection to plants, soil, body, speaking to yourself, how you know, how your brain sort of creates the reality that you feed it in a way, whether it was there or not, right? We're talking about this, about the news, like how like you hear the news being played and then all of a sudden you go out and you say, that's why that thing isn't happening, because of that crime that keep happening in this neighborhood. That's why these people are blah. That's why, and it just, you just start reinforcing that reality by what you say, what you hear.
Yes, I'm telling you that. It, like you said, that's a good word to use, reinforcing. You know, again, your thoughts, your words, everything is reinforcing what you're manifesting. You know, and like I said, it's all within. You know, whatever reality that you desire for your life, it's all inside. You just have to put that energy out there, you know, and watch it play out. So.
Okay, so you go to school, degree in plant and soil.
Yes.
And then you graduate and get a job doing what?
So yes, I basically work under a head research leader at my lab, and I conduct the experiments. And it's a really cool experience, you know, because while I am into, you know, spirituality and everything like that, I'm also very scientific too. So having both of those is pretty fun. And two, I just have the natural like foundations for it, because, you know, at Tuskegee, that's what I was doing. Like, that was my experience. So yeah, I go in the lab and I work those samples, whatever she wants me to do, I'm in there. So yeah.
Okay, in the lab. What happens in this lab now? So you're in the lab, you have experiments, but like what kind of things are you working on in the lab?
Yeah, so sometimes what we'll do is we'll like inoculate corn samples with like different fungal pathogens and just see how, you know, what's the effect here, what's going on, or what levels of toxins are being emitted when this happens. So that's basically like an example of what we do. In the lab, I also have to like make different types of medias, because when we grow these different organisms at first, some of them like different types of medias. So we have to, you know, do it based on what that organism likes to see what they're gonna do. But yeah, anything you could think of in the lab, I'm doing. I'm making it. I'm making it. I'm pipetting, whatever. Like, I'm telling you, I'm just all in there. Like, that's what I do for my day job. So
wow, it sounds like it sounds fun for you.
Yeah,
in a way that's like super engaging and like really intriguing to like. It also sounds like constant learning and discovery.
Yes, constant discovery. My supervisor always reminds me. She's like, we're in research. There's a reason why there's in front of search, because we're always having to go back and look at different things and study, you know, different things, and depending on what experiments a different lab is doing, they may come out with some different results, and then we compare and we're like, oh, well, why are we seeing this, you know, and then you know, go based off that. So yeah, it's a constant like rediscovery in the lab, you know. So
and then so you're doing not shows, but you're doing what, pop-ups and things okay.
Yes, so I do pop-up markets, which that's my favorite thing to do. I just love to do it. Like I said, I love interacting, you know, face to face with people. And I recently did the one in Chicago, the Juneteenth market. That was such a success. It was awesome.
Oh, good. Okay, cool. And success for you looks like what?
It looks like gaining exposure in any type of way, just literally getting my brand out there, saying, hey, like, this is what I do, this is my name, da 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 da. Also, you know, sales, like, you know, that's success too. And I think the big measure for success for me personally is literally just putting myself out there and saying that, oh, I did this. Like, I didn't let fear stop me from doing this. I put myself out there and I explained my vision. You know, whether people get it or not, I did it, you know, so that's what I count as success for me.
Has fear been a challenge over the course of the years of developing a product or school?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fear is always going to greet you at the door. When you're
what are you afraid of?
I mean, what anybody I feel I would be afraid of, like, you know, failing, whatever that could be, because that's different for everybody. Rejection, maybe just things not going how you thought they were going to go. You know, it's so many different things. But then also on my spiritual journey, I've come to understand that fear is an illusion, you know. It's literally all in here, but it's not real, you know, and whatever you are wanting or desiring is on the other side of that fear. So you have to get past that first, you know, like, hey, it may pop up, or self-doubt may pop up, but you got to be able to like, you don't matter. I'm going to keep going. Like, you know, so it's definitely been a challenge over the years, but I will say this, and I give myself credit, I didn't let it stop me though.
Right. And I think like being a researcher, right? You understand that like either you stop or you learn. All right, like either you just stop the experiment or you learn, you know? So I think that like that's super cool. When it comes to working with crystals though, so I think like being an herbalist and that kind of thing, where did that ascension come from?
Yes, so it actually came like sometime like as I was going into my senior year of college at Tuskegee. Yeah, and I think I just got more into like energy itself, like okay, like all these different things have energy. Like I carry energy, you have energy, everything in this room carries some type of energy. And I just started listening to like different podcasts, you know, like different spiritual podcasts, and they were talking about all these different crystals. I'm like, you know, and I mean, before then I would wear like crystal jewelry, but it wasn't, I guess you say it wasn't intentional. Like I was just wearing it because it was cute. It wasn't because of like any type of energy purposes. And so I remember like, as I was learning about it, I was like, hold up, I need to go to like a metaphysical store. I need to like get into it. So I remember going to Atlanta, went to one of the metaphysical shops, and I was just asking the lady, like, okay, what is this? What is that? Da, da, da. And again, I told you, like, just how I am fascinated by herbs. When I learned about the crystals, fascinated. I'm like, oh, okay, this and this, that and that. Okay, cool. So now I can pair these together with the herbs that I already use. And then so that's when I started getting into like crystal meditation. So using my crystals while I'm meditating, using it when I'm saying different affirmations. One of my favorite ones is citrine, because that is talking about the solar plexus, chakra, talking about who you are, standing in your power. And at that time, that's what I needed. And so I started working with different crystals for different chakras, and then from there I just grew my crystal collection, and I have so many at home. Like, it's wild.
I can't imagine, because once you know the power of them, you're like, oh, I need to have this in case this thing happens. Oh, but wait, I need to have this one because I might need to pull this one out if this thing happens. Like, you gotta make sure you got your stuff all balanced out.
Yes, especially those protection crystals. Your onyx, obsidian, all of that. Make sure you have that on you, because you just never know.
You never know.
So yeah, just have it on you.
Do you consider yourself to be highly intuitive as well?
Yes. So I feel like I've always been that way, but see, I didn't know it was called intuition. Like, I didn't know that's what it was. I just knew that as a child. Yeah, like I just knew certain things, but I couldn't explain how I knew them, or if I would get around a certain person or a certain place, something would change in me. I'm like, what's going on? I don't know what that is. But like I said, as I became more intentional, I learned about intuition, learned about discernment, things like that. And so, yes, I would consider myself highly intuitive, and especially as a water sign. I'm a Cancer. I'm really into zodiacs. Yeah. So I realizing, like, no, Zipporah, like, that's one of your superpowers, girl. Like, use that. Use your intuition as your first voice, because I'm not going to lead myself astray. That's your higher self talking to you. That spirit talking to you. When that intuition goes off, it's like, something ain't right, or no, this is the way to go. You have to listen to it. So I've been more intentional about, using my intuition. Yeah.
It's such a level of trust that you have to develop for all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious, it's like, how did you find that group? Was it just like getting more scientific? Mm-hmm. And being like, I think, scientific things being very much proven, and being like, I can trust this? Mm-hmm. Or, have you found it have to be like a bit of faith and a bit of both? Like, how do you trust?
Yes.
This, trust so much.
Right. That has actually been like one of the challenging parts of my journey. And it's interesting because I never thought of myself to be like an anxious person, but for some reason, I think maybe it was like the whole adulting thing. When I really got into the world, that really started to pop up. And I think it got to a point where it's like, hold up, this is not me. Like, where is all this coming from? And so when it comes to trusting, I think it's important for you to develop grounding practices. So whether that's you go out into the earth and you plant your feet on the earth, you go lay down, you go sun gaze, maybe that's praying, whatever that is. I had to really realize, okay, we have to, because I'm ascending, my soul is ascending. And so I'm like, okay, this is a lot. We got to figure out, how do we come back down? How do we come back down? How do we, well, not even come back down, but balance, right? And so I think the main thing that has helped me trust is, honestly, I talk to spirit every day. I talk to the universe every day. I talk to my ancestors every day. Yeah. Being in communion with them, because they already know what's going on, but I just check in on them. Okay, hey, great grandmother, what's going on? What we doing? What's going on? Or spirit, look, I need help with this because I don't know. And honestly, it just comes down to accepting that everything is always conspiring in the highest favor, in my highest favor. Yeah. Even if I don't see it like that at first, understanding that spirit already knows what's going on from beginning to end. I'm just living this movie that I call my life. But it's already done. It's
Yeah.
already written in the cosmos. And so understanding that Spirit's not going to lead me astray. I'm not going to lead myself astray.
Yeah.
It starts with trusting myself.
Yeah.
Trusting the decisions that I make for myself. And so being able to walk in that, I feel like has also been a grounding practice in itself. You know? So, yeah.
So I see your tattoo says Matter 22 manifestations.
It says Master Manifestress.
Oh, Master Manifestress. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
So, I love that. What's the 22 for?
So 22 is, in numerology, represents the Master Manifestress, like being able to manifest your dreams and understanding that everything happens in divine timing. And also, going back to your question about trust, 2 is a number of trust. So I resonate with all the 2s, you know.
Okay, I'm a 3s and a 7.
Okay, 7. So 7 is my life path number.
That's my life path number.
Yes. Okay.
Oh yeah, I love that. Okay, so let's get into talking about some of the herbs that you have created. Was there a special reason for the selection?
Honestly, like when it came to the herbs that I wanted to like start out with, like selling, I think I just chose from like the herbs that I feel like helped me the most. You know, like it was more like a personal thing. Like, yeah, this herb right here. You know, so I started out that way, and it's definitely my intention to like add more herbs to the inventory because, man, it's just so many herbs out here, and I just love it. But I started out with some main ones that, you know, I've been into for a while, and I wanted to share, you know, with the world. So.
Okay, let's share it with the world then. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So, okay, show me what means what.
Yes. So here is red raspberry. These are really good for the woman, you know, for your uterine health. Okay. Gotta get that. I personally make that as a tea, you know, when I'm about to be on my period, you know, Aunt Flo, she wanna come. It helps just alleviate cramps and everything like that. Then we have elderberry over here. I'm telling you, it's starting to get cold. Get your immune system up. You know, this is a powerful antioxidant, rich in all
Okay, let's talk about elderberry. Because I feel like people get a little... Like everything, like I don't know.
Everything's elderberry.
Yeah, elderberry and what's the other one? The jelly, sea moss. Do these, you know? I want the people to know. Do these really do what people say they do? And with plant medicine, do you find it having to be a concentration over a period of time? So you know, like I think people want something where they're like, oh, I'm not feeling good today. Take up medicine, is gone. But plants don't work that way, do they?
No. See, I'm glad that you brought that up. So that's the thing. Because I feel like a lot of us have grown in that culture where it's like, oh, we take this one thing and we good. We're so used to that. So you expect everything to act like that. But here we're talking about the sacredness of Mother Earth. Okay, so you got to give her some time. You know, it's not a quick fix. And also we have to understand when it comes to your health in any way, it's a maintenance thing. Like it's over time. Like it's not something that you're just like, oh, this one thing happened and I, you know, like that's not how it works. So like for example, with the elderberry, that's something honestly you want to start. You don't want to take it in the midst of everything going on. That's something you want to really start feeding your body like fall time, like beginning of fall time, and everything like that. And I mean with the elderberry, you can take it in multiple ways. So you can make a tea if you want to. It's technically called a decoction. That's what that's called. And because the berries are harder, you have to let it simmer longer, you know, to extract the compounds and the benefits. But anyway, you can do that. You can make an infused like cough syrup with honey if you would like.
With this?
Yeah. So you can, yes.
Okay, wait, time out. Because I thought it was just tea.
No, so these are just loose herbs, but with the loose herbs, you can use them in any, you can use them in any way. Like
okay, so now you got to back up. Okay. Now you got to tell me the things.
Okay.
So with the loose herbs, if I want to make a tea, you get like, you know, the tea thing and you just steep it.
Yep.
But if you wanted to infuse it into something, how do you do that?
Yes. So, okay, for example, like if you want to make like a tincture, you know, or some type of extract, right? What you would do is you can make it with alcohol if you would like. That's typical. But if you're not on that wave, you could do vegetable glycerin. So what you do is you take your desired herb and you put it in, depending on the ratio and how strong you want it. I like my extracts pretty strong.
Okay.
So I use more herb. But anyway, it's real easy. You put the vegetable glycerin in, you put your herb in. With the vegetable glycerin, you can add a little bit of water too, just to make the consistency a little thinner if you would like. But anyway, so you put it in a mason jar, put that thing on tight, shake it up pretty much every day, and you let it sit for about 2 months. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So through letting it sit is what infusion is happening.
It's the exactly.
Okay.
It's
What about
infused.
okay? Now that I got you here, and you're a scientist.
Yeah.
What is happening when people take they take it and they put it in the middle of like a boiling pot of water? Like what? Have you seen that? People do it that way, where like they put the jar, put whatever in the jar, and they put it in the middle of a like a boiling pot of water.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's just another method you could use to make an extraction. So basically why people do that is because depending on like the heat, like you don't want to essentially like kill the compounds out of it. So I guess what I'm saying is it's a safer way of making your extract. So sometimes just to make sure that you're not like boiling it down, all the way, you'll take the jar and the heat is still, there. And so it can infuse that way. Now, what I would do is typically if I'm making like an infused oil, like if I make infused hair oil for myself, I'll put the oil and everything in a jar because oil is sensitive to heat and everything. So I'll put it in a mason jar first and then put the mason jar into the boiling water. Right. So it's just different ways. I mean, some people, they'll just put the herb and the water and everything in there in the pot and don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? But yes, that's just part of the methodology.
Okay, and so you put this in the vegetable glycerin, you let it sit for how many months?
I do too. Some people do less. I do too, So
okay, 2 months.
Yeah.
After 2 months, it's gonna look like what? Like, what do you do then?
So what you have in your hand, so like that's like a green herb, right? So it's gonna look very green. It's gonna be like a very green liquid. And what you do is you just strain it out. So you strain the herbs from the liquid, and there you go. That liquid is your extract. So now the compounds, the benefits are in that liquid, and you could drop it under your tongue.
And keep going.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow. Okay, this is yerba mate. What is it good for?
That right there, energy booster.
Really?
Yes, energy booster right there.
I ain't got my glasses on. I can see the big words.
Yes, energy booster. Okay. I love drinking that as a tea. Like if I know I have a lot going on, but I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and do that. Also right here, the Egyptian blue lotus, kind of going back to that anxiety. If you struggle a lot with anxiety or you just have times where you're just like very just, that's really good. And it's also good for like a mood enhancer, giving you kind of like that euphoric type feel, just chill, So I like to drink that as a tea too.
And so you just developed these because it was basically like what your needs are. You like the world must have these needs too, which clearly we all do. And then do you match them to different, because what is this one? I don't think I know what this one is.
So that's rhodonite, and on my website you'll see it's called the Stone of Balance. So it's really good for the heart chakra and everything like that. If you're looking for just the energy of harmony, looking for a little bit of balance, it's good to hold it in your hand a little bit. If you want to meditate with it, it works that way too. Yeah.
And do you sell the crystals too? Okay, and tell us about, let's just go down. Now I know what this one is because that's my birthstone. But let's keep going. So what's the next one?
Yes, so celestite, that blue one. I love that
one.
And
what about this one?
And this is the green aventurine. So that one is the stone of good luck. That's what I call it. So it's really good. Like you need that energy of like abundance, of wealth. There we go. And then the stone of serenity, such just a pure stone. It's really good for the third eye chakra, being connected there. So they all have their, different properties and everything like that. And it just depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And like I said, take one of them, pop them in your purse, keep it in your car,
whatever
you want. Like it's
I have
literally
one in my bed.
honestly, like
at my door, because I'm bringing a mess up in here. Okay.
Whatever energy like you're wanting to just invite in your space, I feel like crystals are a good way to do that. And like I said, also, you know, people make them into jewelry. So if you want to just literally wear it, you could do that. You know. So yeah. And then we have the OG sage right there.
Well, I mean, if people don't know what that is, then I don't know what they're doing. With their life, you gotta have that.
Yes.
Have that Palo Santo. Yeah.
Love that. I always, so usually like when I sage my home, because I usually sage my house like once a week, kind of keep it on the maintenance. I'll do that. And with the sage, to understand is like, sage clears out all energies. So that's why when you sage, you want to follow up with something, you know.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't know that about sage. So I just want to put that out there. Like when you're saging, you're clearing out all energies.
Everything.
It's a clean slate. So you just want to make sure that you follow up, you know, with something. So sometimes I follow up with the Palo Santo. Sometimes I'll come in with like an incense, you know, something like that. So
That's a good point. I'm glad you said that so people will know.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm curious. All right, I'm gonna ask you this question. Ask everybody this question.
Okay.
Well, wait. Before I ask you the last question, what's next for you? So I love the idea of you being a Botanica owner. Like I could see that. Like, do you do anything with candles?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay, I'm a candle girl too.
Yes.
So I could see you having your own Botanica, you know, and then there's the herbs, and you have to have candles at that point. You have to have all the things. At this point,
you gotta have all the things.
Yeah. But what is next for you?
Yes. So, thank you for that question. I honestly, I just want to continue, you know, participating in the different markets that I was telling you about, and honestly, just, you know, doing what needs to be done and kind of like figuring out like where I want to go with it. I'm trying to be more in the now, you know, because sometimes you get so caught up in like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I just want to continue. Like I told you, measuring success for me is just, I did it. You know, like I'm putting myself out there. I'm not letting anything stop me. That's what's next, and whatever comes with that. And like I said, I trust spirit to just align the opportunities.
Yeah.
So,
I love that. Speaking of being in the now.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you this question. You can answer it in any way that feels right to you.
Okay.
It can be about business. It can be about person. It can just be whatever comes to you when I ask it.
Okay.
And the question is, where are you now?
I am living my best life.
Hey, I love that.
Living blissfully. Just, I'm in so much gratitude. You know, even this moment right here, just gratitude. You know, that I'm able to come back and speak with you about everything that's going on. Like, just so much gratitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was 2021 when I met y'all in that BGV cohort.
Yeah.
And now it's 2025.
Right. At this point, yeah, we're coming up on it.
Yeah. So lessons learned.
Yes.
Any lessons learned as you feel like from then versus now?
Ooh, I mean, definitely a lot of them. But I would say like the main one, if I'm just speaking to anybody, just don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Like, and always stick to your vision, you know, because I like to think of this as like, you know, prescription eyeglasses. Like the vision that I have is not going to be the same as someone else, you know. And so if I try to get my glasses to somebody else, of course they're not going to see the vision. Like we got different prescriptions, bro. So,
right.
You know, so like also understanding that that's okay. You know, if people don't see it how you do, because again, at the end of the day, Spirit gave that to you. So you're going to execute it, you know, the way that you see it. And yeah, like I said, just not letting like any self-doubt, any fear stop you. I'm not saying that's not going to pop up. That pops up for everybody. That's just a real thing. But understanding, I'm going to transcend this. I'm going to alchemize it and use it to fuel my power to take the next step forward. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. This is an awesome conversation. I loved it so much. We have to have many more conversations for sure. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, Omi. I appreciate you.